The U.S. and the EU scrambling to strike a trade deal ahead of next week's August 1 deadline. FT did report yesterday that a potential deal would impose 15% tariffs on European imports, similar to the Japan number that we got this week. Joining us this morning, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Mr. Secretary, great to have you. I know you've been busy. Streets hungry for an update on the EU. What can you tell us?
Well, the EU really wants to make a deal. I mean, what's happened is Donald Trump sent them a letter and said, look, if we don't make a deal, you've got a huge trade deficit. I mean, $235 billion trade deficit, which means they sell us more stuff than we sell them. And so the president said it's 30% if you don't get a deal done. So you know how badly they want to make a deal.
Is 15 the new benchmark?
Well, look, the Japan deal, which I'd like to talk about, was amazing. I mean, not only are they paying 15%, but they gave Donald Trump and the American people $550 billion to invest at our and Donald Trump's discretion, the American people's discretion, to build in America the things that Donald Trump wants to build. Power, generic drugs, shipbuilding, whatever Donald Trump wants to build, the Japanese will finance it for him. Pretty amazing.
Mr. Secretary, I thought that was an incredible gift. It had to happen. I am very concerned that if there's no deal with Europe, what they'll do to our service companies. It's the only thing that they ever really take from us anyway. How do we protect these great American companies?
Well, you're right. They attack our great tech companies every day. They have this DST, Digital Services Act, a Digital Markets Act, also another tax on American technology. And so we're trying to beat that back. And in these trade deals, we talk about it. Look, we think it's reasonable that these companies pay fair tax in Europe, but we've got to stop this onslaught of this regulatory onslaught of our tech companies. And Donald Trump's got these tech companies back. And we are working on it. You saw it. We got rid of it in Canada. We got rid of it in all sorts of countries. They knock it down. That's one of our key objectives.
And let's talk about Korea for a second. I don't know what's going to happen. There's no deal before August 1. But I've got to tell you, they have plants in this country. But when you look at the plants they just assemble, all the IP is from Korea. How do we get them to be serious about the plants that they have here?
Well, what happens is, when it comes into the country, you put a tariff on it. So if you bring the engine in, you pay the tariff. If you bring the parts in, you pay a tariff. So if you tariff the parts, you capture the idea, and we're all over that. Now, you know, they're Korean manufacturers. They do produce plenty of cars here, but as you pointed out, they tend to bring a lot of things in from overseas. That'll get caught by these tariffs. And you know the Koreans also, like the Europeans, they very much want to make a deal. And when they saw, I mean, you could hear the expletives out of Korea when they read the Japanese deal, because the Koreans and the Japanese, they stare at each other. And so you can imagine what they were thinking when they saw that Japan made that deal. They were like, oh, man. And, of course, they're going to be in my office today talking.
Mr. Secretary, you know, when it comes to the Japan deal, the $550 billion in investment, we were trying to grapple with this a bit yesterday. Do we have specifics around where that's coming from, where it's going, what timelines, what metrics, what they're going to be held to? I'm just trying to understand a bit more around what is obviously a very large number.
So the key is, this is not regular foreign investment. This is not Toyota building a plant in America. That's what normally people think about. This is literally the Japanese government itself saying to Donald Trump, we will provide Donald Trump and the American people $550 billion on projects you choose. And we will give you 90% of the profits, America. So basically, Donald Trump can pick the projects. And we are working the details out now. We're doing the documentation right now. But here's an example. If Donald Trump says, look, we don't make generic antibiotics in America. We don't make antibiotics. So let's go build those factories. Let's go invest $15 billion, and let's take care of generic antibiotics. And bang, the Japanese will finance it for us. It doesn't cost us money. And those profits, 90% of the profits stay in America. 10% go back to the Japanese to pay their cost of funding. And that's it. We don't have any obligation to pay anything other than 90-10 split. So Donald
and
Trump can take care of America.
And they're under an obligation to actually
it.
provide that financing. I mean, is there a way you're going to measure it if they're in violation, or I'm just curious over what time period?
It's easy. This is so easy, right, Don? We give them the project. They pay for the project. They don't pay for the project, their tariff is going to go sky high the next day. They're going to pay for the project. This is easy to execute.